Hello, welcome back to Read Between the Lines. I'm Grayson, and we're here to talk about books, specifically the top 10 books I'm most excited to read in 2026. I have the stack here next to me, and we're just gonna go through. They are in no specific order. Just the books. When I looked at my shelf, I was like, yeah, these are the ones that I'm putting at the top of my TBR because I'm excited to dive in. So we'll pull them off and talk about them a little bit and talk about why I'm excited about it. To start, we have Mina's Matchbox. This is a translated Japanese fiction, and it definitely sounds intriguing to me. I'm not going to read the full summary because, to be honest, I can't pronounce all their names properly. So, but it follows a 12-year-old Japanese girl from a coastal town in 1972 who goes and stays with her wealthy family. That's kind of an enigma. Specifically, her 13-year-old cousin, and they live in kind of like a make-believe world for the summer, it sounds like. The main reason I'm excited to read this is because last year, at the suggestion of one of my best friends, I read The Memory Police, and this was a really funky read. Reminded me a lot of 1984 by George Orwell. Very dystopian, and this is by the same author, so I liked this one. Figured I'm probably going to enjoy this one, and I'd like to read some more translated fiction. So yeah, we're excited about Mina's Matchbox. Me here, and we have a little nonfiction, Nick Offerman's Where the Deer and Antelope Play, the pastoral observations of one ignorant American who loves to walk outside. Yeah, I love Nick. I think he's really funny. Parks and Rec is one of my favorite shows, and he's phenomenal in there. And I love nature. I backpack, I camp, I hike. I live in Washington State. What do we expect? And yeah, I'm just excited for a little bit of humor in the dumpster fire that is the world right now. This basically follows him through, he goes on hikes into farmlands and frontier and talks to people and examines their relationship with the land and the land itself. This was also a suggestion from my best friend Julia, so excited to dive into this. I haven't read a lot of nonfiction last year, and I kind of miss it. Then we have Antarctica by Claire Keegan. This is a short story collection. Claire Keegan is most notably known for her book Small Things Like These and Foster, I believe. She writes a lot of short format fiction. I have been really intrigued to read her work. I struggle to justify paying $20 for a 100-page book, if I'm honest. So when I found this, it felt like a little bit more bang for my buck. So this was first published in 1999 and proclaimed a impressive debut. And she's blown up since then, so I'm excited to start at the beginning of her repertoire, I guess. What do we got next? Moonflow by Bitter Carla. Super cool cover. This one, they call it The King's Breakfast. One bite and you can understand the full scope of the universe. One bite and you can commune with forgotten gods beyond human comprehension. Sarah is a trans woman who makes her living growing mushrooms. When a bad harvest leaves her in a desperate fix, the lure of King's Breakfast has her journeying into a vast, uncharted woods where it grows. But as she descends deeper, she realizes she's not alone. Something in the forest is waking up. It's hungry, and it wants her. I found this at Powell's Books down in Portland for my birthday, and I don't read a lot of horror, so I was intrigued to kind of dip my toes in a little bit. I don't like horror movies, not because they gross me out. They just kind of bore me. So I'm hoping that a horror book will intrigue me more, I suppose. Also, I'd like to read more books with trans protagonists, if I can talk. It's a tongue twister. And it seems a little bit more like a thriller than a horror, but it's marked as a gloriously queer psychedelic trip into the heart of an eldritch wood and the terrors of sisterhood. So, sounds intriguing. Sick cover. Give you another glance at it. What do we got here? I think I know, so we're gonna grab them both at once because they're the same author. We have two Sally Rooney's. These, these might be the two that I'm most excited about, if I'm being completely and utterly honest. I read Sally Rooney for the first time this year. Started with Beautiful World, Where Are You? Went into Normal People. I had Intermezzo on my shelf for quite a while, but it's hardcover because it's all I could find, and I hate reading hardcover. So I finally found the paperback, and I'm very excited about it. So Intermezzo is Sally Rooney's latest book, and it follows two brothers that are polar opposites as they grieve the death of their father. So I know this is going to absolutely wreck me to my core, which is low-key my favorite type of book. But I feel like I'm in good, safe hands with Sally with this. So Intermezzo, definitely excited. Also, I think the orange cover is sick. I do like the blue UK cover, but this one, we're pretty excited about it. And then we have Conversations with Friends. This one, I got at a used bookstore, which kind of excites me because it's already a little busted up. I can't remember if this was her first book. I don't think it was. But this follows Frances is a cool-headed, darkly observant young woman vaguely pursuing a career in writing while studying in Dublin. Her best friend is the beautiful, endlessly self-possessed Bobby. At the local poetry performance one night, they meet a well-known photographer, and as the girls are then gradually drawn into her world. Frances is reluctantly impressed by the older woman's sophisticated home and handsome husband, Nick, but however amusing Frances and Nick's flirtation seems at first, it begins to give way to a strange, then painful intimacy. Written with gem-like precision and marked by a sly sense of humor, Conversations with Friends is wonderfully alive to the pleasures and dangers of youth and the messy edges of female friendship. I mean, come on. It does sound a lot to me like Beautiful World, Where Are You? And the female friendship side of things, which I loved. So very, very excited for this. I also know that this is my friend Nat's favorite Rooney, so we're going to dive into that. We got a couple big boys up next. We have Prince of Tides by Pat Conroy. A modern American classic and a family saga that spans decades. This is the story of the volatile Tom Wingo, his brilliant but troubled twin sister Savannah, and the complex, damaging family legacy they share. Moving between the sparkling glamour of New York City and the vanishing beauty of the South Carolina Low Country, The Prince of Tides is Pat Conroy's masterwork. I saw a review of this book this year. I think it's on Books Are Sick, and he said it was one of his favorite reads of all time. Everything I've heard about it says that it is literary fiction masterpiece, very much character-driven deep dive, which is my preferred reading. So I'm really excited to read it. It's a bit of a thick boy. Got a nice weight to it, but really cool cover. and I'm excited to dive into this family saga and get to know these characters well. Then we have The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. This is a fantasy book, and I don't read any fantasy, or I haven't, I should say. I would like to expand my genres. So I saw a lot of good reviews on this one. I think Phil Reed's Books said that this was a great place to start. So when the gods fought, it was a battle so savage they destroyed themselves, leaving nothing but their bones and broken land of Vigard in their wake. Now, as whispers of war echo over the fjords and across the plains, fate follows in the footsteps of three warriors, a huntress on a perilous quest, a noblewoman pursuing battle fame, and a thrall seeking retribution among the mercenaries known as the Bloodsworn. All three will change the course of the world as it once more falls under the shadow of the gods. So this is a Norse fantasy, which I'm very excited about. And I also love that there's two, that I can tell from the blurb, two main female protagonists that are badass. And we love that. Let's fucking go. We're down to two. Carl's Doomsday Scenario by Matt Demonin. This is Carl's Doomsday Scenario. This is book 2 in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. I read the first one last year. I really enjoyed it. Haven't read a lot of sci-fi in the past, but I did really enjoy this, so much so that I recommended it to my little sister and my friend Amy. Yeah, so this is book 2 in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. We get more time with Carl and Princess Donut and all their adventures as they try to fight their way through the game show that is happening in this. Not to give too much away, but yeah, I love the characters. It's really funny. It's really playful. I think this is a really great place to start in sci-fi. It draws you in, makes you want to read more, and it's not overwhelming. Like, there's not so much science that you're like, oh fuck. But yeah, Carl's Doomsday Scenario. We're down to the final one. We are ending the top 10 books of 2026 to be read with Didion and Babbitts. From my understanding, this is about Joan Didion and Eve Babbitts and their relationship. I don't know much about Eve Babbitts. I love Joan Didion, so if I see her name on something, I'm probably going to read it. So journalist Lily Annelich uses Babbitt's brilliance of observation, Babbitt's incisive intelligence, and most of all, Babbitt's diary-like letters found in those sealed boxes, letters so intimate you don't read them so much as breathe them, as the key to unlocking Didion. Sounds like we're getting more info on Didion through Babbitts, through Lily. So I'm intrigued. I haven't heard a lot of reviews about it. Joan Didion's brain is so particular and so incredible that I just can't wait to hear more about what she was like and maybe read some more of her writing. So these are the top 10 books I'm most excited to read in 2026. Put a comment below if you've read any of them, and maybe throw some suggestions in there. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I'm looking forward to continuing this in the new year, and hopefully making some friends, getting to talk about books with y'all. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in a couple weeks.